Okay, hey guys. Welcome to Tell Me Everything with Lance, episode 60. You're my 60th episode. Woo, woo, woo. We are live at the Crypto Content Creator Campus. I am with Katie Penn. It's so nice to have you on the show.
It's nice to meet you
Thank
too.
you.
We've already bonded.
Yeah, we're already vibing, hardcore. Just a little bit of introduction. She is the former global head of marketing for X and chief member at Chief, but we're going to discuss any of that really. We're going to discuss a little bit of women empowerment, which I know is a bit about Chief, but we're also going to discuss a bit of relationships, guys. My followers and my listeners always are like, speak about dating, please speak about relationships. Any guest you bring on, speak about it. So guys, you got what you wished for, you got what you asked for. So let's kind of bring it to, I think I want to start with your women empowerment journey in a way, because I know, so I had Shadzi on yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
I used to manage her.
I know. So she
cute.
told me all about kind of that you guys worked at, it was like a technology Twitch, yes, a Twitch, but somewhere before that as well.
No, she was referred to me. I had worked at Salesforce, and her
Salesforce,
old boss
that's what it was.
referred her in, and
Okay.
I was actually on maternity leave, and they never contacted her. And then when I got back, I was like, what about that woman that was referred in? And then I pulled her, got her in for interviews.
She told me, so she told me
an amazing journey.
And she told me, she's like, you're interviewing Katie, oh my God. I was like, yes, it's amazing, like you and her.
She's really special.
She is, but one of the things that we were speaking about is like kind of having a space, which is what this podcast really aims to do, but to amplify kind of women's voices and feel like we're supporting each other in maybe industries that are kind of male dominated. So I just wanted to know which is every industry, that's true. So I just wanted to get from your perspective, from X, from Twitch, from Salesforce, and being at Chief, what has been your experience of kind of breaking through the noise as a woman?
My experience breaking through the noises of women. You mean that the noises of men, or okay, sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
No, it's okay. I was like, women, I don't know if women have made enough noise. So
I like that. That's also a good insight to say.
So I mean, tech has been so male dominated, and the space that I started in. So I just finished at Twitter/X, but the space that I started in was very male dominated. And I had a few women I looked up to that were leaders, and I didn't model them, but what I saw was like a trend, which was that they were just authentically themselves. And so I went into it not trying to be a guy.
Yeah.
I think that's it, right? Like I was just
like
like, I see these ladies that are like boss bitches at the top.
You can swear on this podcast.
So
super
they were
unfiltered.
just like cussing, and they just had a voice and an opinion at the table. And I was like, oh, if they can do it and they're getting promoted and succeeding, I can be myself. And I'm not going to be the crazy, I'm not going to be just like them.
Yeah.
But I felt empowered by that. And so I think that I would walk into a room at Twitch. I mean, that's male game. It was a male gaming product.
Yeah.
As soon as I would walk in a room, it was all men. And I would say, hey guys. And when I say guys, I mean every single one of you in the room, right? So I would just call it out and kind of make it a joke.
Yeah.
And then, just own it. And I was lucky. I went to an all-girls high school, and I think it really helped me find my voice, be pretty young. I just was comfortable in classrooms and everything like that. And so once I got to college, I was really surprised when I saw women not raising their hands, because I just had naturally learned it. It was like a habit.
Well, I mean, that's a really good point, because I think I can relate that. I mean, I went to a co-ed school, and I went to the American School of Dubai, actually, but I remember feeling quite timid in classes, like I wasn't smart enough, or I didn't have a voice, because I didn't want to raise my hand and say the wrong question or ask a stupid question, or say, and I feel like with time, I've been able to give myself confidence. But what advice, I mean, you have 3 kids as well, so you might have some experience. All boys. Okay, I want to get to that, put a pin in that, but what advice would you give to kind of women who are kind of a bit timid? Is it just kind of build yourself internal confidence or love to make sure that you are making a voice? Because a lot of women, are scared to ask for those promotions, are scared to ask for that raise, because they feel like, but men, for some reason, are not. They go in and they ask, and they put that voice in.
Confident.
So confident. So what kind of advice would you then give to women to try and instill that within themselves?
So, I mean, I can only speak to my journey, and I'm super passionate about this. So I helped I've helped
Yeah,
friends.
yeah.
I actually have a spreadsheet when women are going in to
Love this.
negotiate. Like I'm like, call me. And now it's really fun because I actually have women call me before they get their job offers. And now sometimes they're bigger job offers. And I'm just like, I knew it. I knew my girls were going to get the bigger jobs and bring me along. Like Shadi, like I got invited to this event because of Shadi and I was her manager. But what I would say is my experience, a lot of women go in and they take their offer and they don't know how to negotiate. So you start too low. And then you have to crawl up. So a lot of times I'll tell women, you're going to have to leave so you can start higher before you start negotiating.
That's good advice, though.
So that's one. Like, don't ball yourself if you started too low, but you may not be able to climb in the company you're at if you've started at the bottom. And a lot of companies in San Francisco and the Bay Area were trying to correct this. We did like a big exercise when I was at Twitter, and they were a little more supportive. A little more supportive. We did a whole exercise of salary ranges, and we saw that most women were falling off the salary band and men were above the salary band.
That's
so we tried to
Yeah.
equalize it. So if you started your career and you weren't able to negotiate and you're below, like, you don't need to share that information in your next job. You can set your expectations and go from there. I was very lucky. I had my brother. He's a C-level. He's incredibly successful. And when I went from Twitter the first time to Twitch, he coached me through it.
Wow.
And he was like, okay, how much are you saying that you're making? Okay, no, scratch that. And then he was like, how much equity do you have? Okay, we're going to double that. And I wanted to throw up. I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. And he made me do it. And he gave me some really helpful tips on language and negotiating. Like, I think we're almost there. I'm really excited about this, but I'd like to see us get there.
Yeah.
So I think that my lesson is you have to practice it.
Yeah.
And so I learned it, and I learned it once, and I did it, and it worked, and I got more than I even asked for.
Wow.
Then I started coaching my friends on it, and I coached a friend for a big Amazon job on it, and lucky she could just write it down, and she said, I sent it, and I want to throw up. And they said yes, and they gave her more.
Such a relatable girl thing.
Yes.
Like, I literally want to throw up. Like
and
literally.
So what I try to do when I coach people is they're not going to walk away if you ask. And this is also in like working as a woman. I started asking to work from home way before it was a trend. I was like, yo, I've had 2 children. I will always work from home on Fridays now, if you want me. And all they're going to say typically is no, or can we find a different solution? So it's the not asking,
I think so,
that really puts you at a disadvantage. And I mean, I'll be honest, like, I've gotten almost everything I've asked for.
Because you've asked.
Because I've asked. And so it's just a habit. It's just a habit.
Yeah.
And it's something that's not natural for us, and you need to just realize it. But now as a hiring manager, and this will motivate women because we're perfectionists and we want to do it right all the time.
Yep.
I take a point off on people that can't ask, right? Because then I ask myself, how are they going to be on my team negotiating for stuff that we want? How are they going to be as an employee if they can't ask when they're coming in, right? So it's like someone is just like not asking questions in their interview, not asking for more salary. For me, like, my perspective is like, they're going to need a lot of work, right? So think of it that way too, because I know that we're hard on ourselves.
We are, and I think as women, just generally across the board, we are harder on ourselves than men. And I don't know if it's I don't know. Is that generational trauma that's been trickled down? Because I believe in generational trauma that you can have. Okay, I could go I really do. Like, I have PCOS and endometriosis. And that started from my great grandmother who was in Syria during war. Wow. And that trickled down to my grandmother who then was, because she wanted to study in Syria. And she actually, from the US department, they were doing like some sort of thing from the US. She went to Duke University. But then being away from her family, I feel like put trauma on her. So I feel like it's something that he trickled down to you. And I feel like that's why we're a bit like we're perfectionists. We take everything to heart. You know what I mean? We kind of have that part of us because there is this generational trauma that women have just been through, and it's a fact.
I agree with that, but there could have been a man through that same journey that come into the U.S. And I think that, like, all you have to do is look at what is being projected to us in the media to understand why we're hard on ourselves. Like, I have a husband that doesn't think about shopping or clothes or skincare or aging or his BMI or the type of food he's eating. And so that's a lot of mental space. That is a lot of mental freedom. And so I think we're hard on ourselves because the priorities that are being fed to us at a very young age are purposeful to take away from our actual power.
100%. No, yeah, you're right. I mean, if I could...
She would not be wearing a Spanx right now. I promise you.
You would not even like. I just like bought some like this collagen jelly like for your face, and I eat it every morning on an empty stomach. My husband's like, "What is that?"
Yeah, I've wanted to try that.
By the way, it's really good.
Everyone in LA told me about it.
I'm sure it's a very LA Dubai cross country thing. Yeah. Sorry guys, is the camera still filming, right? Yeah. Because okay, thank you so much. Because usually I have my husband that checks it out for me. Yeah. He helps me. What?
Where's your timer?
At the top.
It's in the middle. You can't see it. This is
Okay.
in the way.
I just had a slide. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, thank you guys. I'll edit that out. Okay.
Women helping women. Right?
Yeah, women helping women. Exactly. Thanks, guys. Thanks, girls. I want to move a little bit into dating.
Oh, sure.
And relationships.
It's been a while.
When did you meet your husband?
I met him in 2001.
Okay.
You know.
How was that story? Yeah, your baby.
I was 12. No.
Like I was 10 years old.
I was so young.
How did you meet him?
I met him. It's a great story that I try to help other women when they're like, I just can't find the one. And I was just like, lower your standards. I was like, let's take what you think is perfect and just bring them down a little bit for happiness. I met him because I had moved out to Colorado for a boyfriend that was in medical school, perfect on paper, Bail Ski Patrol, poet, future surgeon. So I was like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I had found the perfect tall American guy. And I got there and he was kind of not right for me. He was very serious. And not that fun. And so I broke up with him and because I had seen divorce with my parents and I knew my mom kind of just wasn't happy. And so I was like, I just don't want that generational experience.
Yeah.
And then I met my husband a month later and he was British. He looked like Billy Idol. None of you will probably know who Billy Idol is.
I actually do know that is.
And I thought, okay, this guy is not my type. Absolutely not. I hope he's straight. Like that's how much he wasn't my type.
Okay.
And I should make out with him because 100%. I will never go out with him. That's what it was like.
I love this.
I was like, this is a perfect rebound. He is like foreign. He has all these fun foreign friends. And like, I'll just make out with him. And then I'm leaving Colorado and going back to San Francisco. And that's how I met him.
Stop! I love this. Okay, wait. So in the like, you were like rebound vibes, like. But were you like, I will literally like never be with this? Because I feel like women now, they have like, you literally said it so perfectly. We have this list and we have this, they need to check every single box. I mean, they just do it. I feel
no one is gonna check every box.
Of course no one's gonna check every box. Of course, it's unrealistic. And when I found my now husband, I was actually on a dating hot girl summer vibe. It was 2020. Wow, I was going on dates right, left, and center. I was on Tinder. I was on Bumble. I was
the pandemic.
I know. Okay, wait. In my defense, we were going. So Dubai closed obviously for like 2 months or whatever. So I was on dating apps and I went on Zoom dates.
No.
Because I thought sober dates, I'll get to know them for their true self. There's no alcohol, so like you're actually very authentic when you're on Zoom and you're like housing in your room.
Interviews or something.
Interviews. Wow. And we went on like walks because like no the restaurants were open, so the thing was walks.
Yeah,
open air walks.
Probably a different way to meet.
It was very different, and when it was so interesting, and then I just kind of diversified my pool almost. Yeah. Like, I was like, okay, let me just date I went on Minder, which is a Muslim Tinder, and it was hilarious. I got put in a pool of people who drank, and it was like 5 of us. It was really funny. Anyways, but I was just meeting all these different people, and I feel like that's where I got to know who I was more.
Right.
What I liked, what I didn't like. So I was in toxic relationships before then, and then now I was just like, I need to be open because it didn't work out for me before to have this like strict box. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
How would you say, so you've been married a while now.
I've been with him for 23 years, and I can never remember the year we got married. I'll be honest. 'Cause we got secretly married first, so I could stay in the UK, and then we got like a real wedding afterwards. So I've never been like a marriage date person. So it's just been when we started going out. So it's been 23 years.
Cute.
Yeah, it's been a really long time. Ups and downs.
Ups and downs. So I was gonna ask how, like, we were just speaking about this before, about like how I'm like 2 years into marriage. I'm like, it's work. She's like, wait till you have kids, honey. Yeah. What would you say the key is for a relationship to kind of feel like you're constantly, like you're there for each other? It's alive, because I'm like, it's effort and it's work, of course, but like, what would you say is like really the key thing?
I don't know. I would say that you have to play the long game. There were times where I was ready to call it quits, like 2 little kids. I moved to San Francisco pregnant to take a job. Like, it was really hard. And I'm very lucky that I have an equal partner. Best partner, especially if you want to work, like having someone that is your equal and isn't going to bring like some of that draconian ideas into the marriage will help you so they say like the biggest career decision a woman can make is the partner that she chooses. And that was definitely my case. I mean, he was willing to move to San Francisco while I was pregnant and for me to take a job. But there were times where I was just kind of like wanting to blow up my life, and I was very lucky to have someone that came from a family where, you know, he's one of 6 kids. His parents were married the whole time I was from divorce. So I was lucky to have that anchor in him where he was like, yeah, we don't like each other right now, but like, that's probably the kids, and I know we're gonna have fun again, you know? And so like, we kind of just ebbed and flowed. He's been more stable than me, I would say. And yeah, I mean, work can come in different forms. Like, we've just started marriage therapy after 23 years together. We started a month ago. It's a joke because it's so amazing.
It is.
And I'm laughing because I'm like, how in the world were we not trying to get these tools for 23 years? Because they're just like simple little changes of communication. And I think if you go into those types of, whether it's therapy or whatever you want to do, if you go in with intention of getting more emotionally connected versus like, we have a battle and I'm going to win it, I think that like you'll be like surprised on the results. But yeah, I just think like, stay a little patient and don't be so dramatic in your relationship. If your goal, because that doesn't mean it's success, right? Like, half the people get divorced. So your goal doesn't have to be to be married for your whole lives.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
That amazing, inspiring story. I really want to thank you for being vulnerable with us, because I'm always vulnerable in this podcast, and I feel like it's the most powerful tool anyone can have, is being your authentic self and being vulnerable. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been a pleasure.
So nice to meet you. Let me know when you come to San Francisco.
I know. Done. Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.